Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the Success Series interviews. I'm Suzana Mihailovic. You have probably met me before. And again, I have a very, very, very special guest with me today. You are going to learn so much from the incredible Pamella Hanson. I have known Pamella for a few years now. I think it's probably been about 3 years. And she is one of the most divine humans that you'll ever meet. Her heart is as bigger than anything you've ever seen before. Her passion for her work and to make a difference is huge. And she is a person that continues to learn, to grow, and to stretch herself so that she can become better, not only for her own life, but also for the people she serves. So, Pamella Hanson, she has practiced complementary therapies for over 30 years. Her passion is to assist her clients to awaken the power that is within all of us. So when we align with the higher self, we access the wisdom of the Creator, and this is where the answers can be brought in to help with life and all of its challenges. And everyone has their challenges, don't they? All of us do. Pamella practices hypnotherapy. She's a hypnotherapist, she practices the metamorphic technique. She's a spiritual healer, energy healer. She uses channeling, card reading, and a space clearing to assist in clearing the energetic field. So this can help to bring clarity to people and to focus on what it is that they wish to change. And Pamella's belief is that life can go the way that it is, that we create it, the way that we aspire, and we can have what we want. So Pamella is joining us all the way from the United Kingdom, from England. She's been living there for quite a big chunk of her time. She's one incredible human being, and I would like to introduce you all to the one and only, incredible, amazing, exquisite Pamella Hanson. Welcome, Pamella. Hello.
So much. What a wonderful introduction. My goodness me. Thank you.
That is you. That is you to a T. And before we begin, I just want to extend my gratitude to you. I know that you are very, very busy. It's almost midnight there whilst we do this recording in the UK. So you've stayed up to be with us and the Your Two Minds community. So thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for giving us a little bit of your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
I am super excited about everybody getting to know you. So tell us a little bit more about yourself. So I've just done a quick run through of some of the work that you're doing, but tell us more about you.
Okay. Well, everybody will be able to tell from my accent that I was obviously spent a lot of time in Australia, which I did. I am actually English, but I was taken there very young. So 48 years I had over there. So that's a big chunk. But always wanted to come back. And so I've now been here quite some time. over 20 years. So you can sort of get to know my age now. I'm telling you that, but that's fine. I love it here. Miss everybody in Australia, obviously, but thank goodness with all the technology we have now, it's quite easy to, to keep in contact with people. But love Australia. And from the age of about 36, I started to do complementary therapies. Well, even whilst doing numerous other jobs, managing dress shops and working in banks and all that sort of thing. But I always knew it wasn't what I wanted to do. It was just earning money, just to sort of survive. And once I started to learn Reiki and spiritual healing and things, I thought that's what I want to do. That's it for the rest of my life. I just absolutely love it. And I did it for a very, very long time for free. I'd never used to charge. I always used to do, just donate everything. And it wasn't until much later I started to think about it, and I thought that, when people aren't actually contributing anything, they're not always getting 100% value from something that you're doing with them or working with them. So that's when I started to change my mind and realised that I did have to start charging people, for their session. Not a lot, but to just bring something, so they're actually exchanging something, giving something back in return. I found that was a big difference, to how they approached it, how they received it, and about respect even, because they'd actually paid for something for themselves, so the value was there, and
absolutely.
And it's just gone on from there, literally.
Sure, and respect for yourself and your gift too. Often there's this thing, and I think it is changing, thank goodness. But the healing therapies and the spiritual people that do the spiritual work, there's this massive paradigm, or was. I feel that it is changing, which is wonderful. That they can't, accept money for their work, when in reality money is just energy, and it is a spiritual a thing. If you want it to be, it's all tied up, and it is your work. You've dedicated so much time to get better and to help people. So definitely I think everybody, if they can afford it, needs to
And I think it's like, if people do have a problem with thinking about, spiritual work, well, then just see it as you're paying for my time. And that's what you would do in any job, isn't it? People work for so much, you're virtually working so much an hour. So then look at it that way, and maybe, they can accept it a little bit better, people that struggle with charging.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is that change of self-image though too, isn't it? It starts with the therapist and changing their self-image first. So definitely.
Yeah.
But that's amazing. So you've had over 30 years experience in the energetic, the healing world, and I would imagine you have experienced so much change, in that time. So I'd imagine when you started, Reiki was quite a new concept in the Western world anyway, and energy healing was a new concept in the Western world, probably not the Eastern cultures.
Yeah.
What has that experience been like for you, Pamella?
Well, it's been amazing. I found that once I'd started with Reiki and experiencing some absolutely incredible healings, things that I couldn't even get my mind around at the time, because I didn't have enough knowledge at that time about the mind and the power of the mind. That didn't come till much later, when I started getting into hypnotherapy, when I could see, how we create things, bring things into our being, and how we can also do the same by releasing them. But the energy thing it just got greater, bigger and bigger, and did spiritual healing, which was extraordinary. And then I started doing martial arts, and I did Qigong for 3 years. And I was being trained up to be a master, but unfortunately things happened in my family with my mother, and I had to make a choice, and I had to give it up because she developed dementia. And so that was quite sad, because I absolutely adored it. And I used to do 3 hours practice a day of it. I absolutely loved it so much. And Qigong is, it's a martial art. It's more about healing work. reversing aging, which it does, with the organs, and it's extraordinary. And I absolutely loved it. I still
Wow.
practice it today, but not to the extent that I used to. It was like, a massive, massive part of my life. So that sort of really, again, woke me up to energy when I used to be able to see what the masters could do. Like, it was just, people wouldn't believe you if you told them. They just really wouldn't believe it, just think we're making it up. But it's just, there is nothing impossible, and that's how I know that I've come to that belief. I know there is nothing that's impossible. Any thoughts that you can think, you can bring that into matter.
Yeah.
There's no choice about it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
And that's where the belief with me with healing is that I don't care what anybody has, that if you get to the core reason as to why they've developed it in the first place, then you can reverse it.
Yeah.
And
sure.
so, the world will be your oyster then, truly. It really is. Once you understand that power that we have, it doesn't just belong to the source that created us. It's everything. We're all connected. We're connected to all life, human and animals.
Absolutely.
So you have that power there.
Yeah, absolutely we are. Pamella, are you able to give us an example of I know without identifying people, but some stories of the results and the healing that some of your clients may have experienced?
Yes, I can. You want me to give you one that would blow your mind?
Yeah. Yes, we want to be mind blown, right? Everybody watching, give us a hell yeah. Yes, blow our mind. Write it in the comments.
Okay. Well, one of them, which was very early on in Reiki, we used to meet up every week to do practice sessions. And this one day, there was only 3 of us. Normally, there was a lot more. And so everybody would have a turn on the table with the other people working on them, one at the head and one at the bottom. And the lady whose house it was, she sort of came up to me, and said, Pamela, she said, I really want you to do the head today. Can you please do the head? Don't do the feet. I want you to do the head. And I said, oh, okay. It's, whatever, it's fine. Because I was feeling quite embarrassed for the guy that was there. It was making it as though she didn't want him touching her head. And it was like, I don't know. But this was being orchestrated. There's no 2 ways by the universe. It was amazing. I said, okay. Yep. And so I placed myself at a head and we started doing it. And I got down to do the head. I got down to the chest. And without any exaggeration, my hands went straight through.
Wow.
Literally straight through. I mean, what is going on? Honestly, I did not know what was going on. And I didn't find out anything about what was wrong until after she told me what was wrong. But my hands went straight through. And then I could see she was on an operating table and there was a team of doctors around her. Full, masks and everything they would wear in a hospital room, and doing something, which obviously must have been surgery, whatever. And I was just still like, my God, couldn't be saying, because I had to continue on with the session. And at the end of it, she just got up off the table and looked at me and she said, what was that? Because she'd felt it all herself. And I said, I have no idea, because at that time I didn't know. And so she said, I have just recently been for a healing somewhere because of something that I've had for a long time. They did a little bit. It wasn't bad, but it wouldn't go away. It wasn't going away. But what you've done now, I know it has been fixed. And I followed up with her, and it was, I'm not joking. It was just like, it was absolutely mind-blowing. And it wasn't until much later when I started doing the Qigong, when I asked the masters what happened. And they said everything in the universe was aligned at that moment. Everything for that to occur. And that's why you were like energy, that you couldn't feel the physical body. You couldn't feel your own physical body. You were just pure energy, and which is what we are anyway. And that was my first major lesson as to how powerful things like that were. Because Reiki, you're using your own energy. You're drawing in the energy through, so you're just a channel of the person working at it. So that was the most extraordinary thing.
Wow.
Yeah, and so many others. I mean, I used to get messages all the time. This is how I realized that I can channel. I didn't actually know then what that was because I hadn't come in contact with it. But you used to get messages to give to people. I used to think, that's a bit weird. We're supposed to do this, sort of like, I've just been told to tell you. And then they'd come back the next week, gosh, you've got no idea. What you told me was exactly right. Sometimes it would be a warning, about something happening, or, I remember one I was telling her, there's somebody around you that's very, very dishonest. I don't know what it is, but, you've got to be extremely alert. And she came back and she said, yes. She said, I had a new job and the boss has disappeared with all my wages. And you described it to a T. And I described who the person looked like, what he looked like. And it was those sort of messages.
You were really spot on with me the other day, actually. We haven't had a chance to speak, but just to mention it very quickly in this interview, so everybody that's watching, Pamela and I had a few goes at meeting. This is our third time that we tried to meet. It just didn't work out. And Pamela sent me a message saying, in what area of your life do you feel unsupported? And that's been a theme for me this year. So, so you really got that one spot on. And I want to share that with audience, first of all, and I want to go back to what you were saying, Pamela, but in this past week also, the past 2 weeks, there's been numerous people that have said to me, oh, but Suzana, you're a great success already. Business is easy for you. Helping people is easy for you. That's what you do. But so I want people to know, no matter what things look like on the outside, and yes, we all have levels of success, there's always healing to be done. There's always things inside, we are, nobody's different. We are all connected. And my message is, don't compare yourself to other people, but also know there's always healing to be done. And you were spot on with what I needed to look at and what I needed to heal in myself, or what I need to heal. It's a process that I'm kind of on at the moment, and that is, the feeling of being unsupported. So you are absolutely spot on. So just so I'm clear with my audience, when you shared, I love that story, that Reiki story. That is just beautiful. And Nikola Tesla, was one of this is science, folks. Anyone that's feeling like it's woohoo, go out there and read about our greatest scientists. The two greatest scientists. Arguably the two greatest scientists, or maybe not arguably, Tesla and Einstein. And both of them, Tesla was the first one to talk about energy. And, a lot of the things that we're doing now, energy is, we can connect to Wi-Fi because of energy, right? That's a great example. The lasers that we use to tap into whatever QR codes or whatever it is, that's all energy. That's how physics works. That's how energy works. So this is science, and both Tesla and Einstein, as what the greatest scientists in our history, both say that energy is all there is. Tesla was saying that the future of medicine actually is energetic healing. It is energy. And Einstein, one of his famous quotes was, all there is energy, and that's all there is to it. And once you understand that, you can heal, you can have the dreams that you want, you can achieve goals, it all comes down to energy. So everything that you're sharing is absolutely science. And I was fascinated by what you were saying. I love hearing these stories of the lady that you did the Reiki, and your hands moved through her chest. Right. Literally, that was energetically, you could actually your energetic body. Is that right? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Attaches and aligns with the area that needs to heal. Would that be, Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. And numerous things after. There's been so many I can't remember most of them. But once I got to experience hypnotherapy, when I realised the power of the mind, that it was actually behind everything that people do go through. We have to accept responsibility. It's not, you can't blame other people for things, because you've always got a part in it. And so when I thought, oh, okay. So then it started to link, the things that I'd done before. I started to see the connection with everything. And that's why I like it so much. But I think my favourite, really, out of everything I do, surprisingly enough, is the metamorphic technique.
Yeah.
That one is where the practitioner, you don't call yourself a therapist in that because you are just a practitioner, has absolutely no input into the session at all. So the person comes to you, and I can do it distant as well. It doesn't have to be, one-to-one. But they come, they might have something that they want to let go of, but it doesn't mean that that's what's going to occur, because in a metamorphic, your higher self determines what it is that you need to release, what is important. And it might be something that you don't even have any idea about, but it might be the basis of everything else that's going to fall into place, and it has to go. And so you don't have to speak. You could be there for the whole hour without talking. So it's absolutely amazing for people that have been abused, specifically, I think, because, they don't have to go through everything. They don't have to recount anything like you might have to do with counselling. That has produced the most extraordinary results to people, literally. And you have to remain completely detached. You wouldn't answer a question as a practitioner. If they asked you anything, you do not give an answer. Anything that sounds like you're giving them advice, nothing at all. And yet, I've seen the most extraordinary results with that.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So it sounds like, what I'm loving, and I'd love to hear more. That was actually one of my questions for you. So it's interesting how this conversation went to the metamorphic and technique. Yeah. So, and what I love about what I'm hearing is, often, a counselor or a coach or a psychologist or a leader, is the patient, the client often looks up to those people as having the answers, right? Yeah. But what you're saying is they're really learning and tapping into their own power, answers within, and you're really guided by them subconsciously, aren't you?
Yeah. You only work with metamorphic. You only work with the reflex, it's spine reflex. So that's just the feet, hands, and head, right? And it's just the the inner part of the foot, and then the same on the finger here, and then this bit across there. And so that's where the memory is. So you will just be drawn to do it in some way, shape, or form. So sometimes you might find yourself just stroking. Sometimes it might be just tapping, drumming. There's all been, you just don't know what you're going to be doing. You're not thinking about, I'm thinking about what am I going to have for dinner tonight or something, so that I'm not, sort of interfering in any way with the session. But sometimes, I remember one person that I was doing it on, he'd driven all the way up from London to where I was living in Cheltenham. And when I saw him first, I thought, oh, you're wound up like a corkscrew, really tight. I could just listening to him, I thought, so he wanted to have a session. So I said, yeah, sure. And he only just had a Reiki session with somebody else. And I felt a bit, because he came out and said, oh, he just walked across the room and said, I think I want to have one of those sessions with you. And I'm looking at the practitioner who just finished with him, and I could see her face. I thought, oh, no. Oh, I said, perhaps another day, do you think? No, I've decided I have to have it right now. I thought, what? I had to do. You can't say no. Somebody wanted it, but honestly, she was just glaring at me with daggers, and I just thought, well, what can I do? But anyway, I did it, and he had it, and he loved it, and he went off, and I get this phone call about half an hour later, and he's on the motorway, and he said, "What did you do to me?" And I thought, oh, my God, what's happened, And he said, I haven't stopped laughing since I left. I am laughing so much. People are looking at me out of their cars as they drive past me on the motorway. He said, I'm guffawing. He said, so whatever it was wound up about, obviously it unwound the other way, and off he went. It was so funny. He said, I could not stop. I have not stopped laughing. It's the first time I could stop to ring you because I couldn't have spoken. So that's metamorphic. That's what it can do. If you're ready to, really ready to let go of something, you will find the person, you'll be direct, as he was there at that time, and I just happened to be there doing somebody else. Right. And then you go, So,
like you said earlier, it's all organised. Nothing is spoken.
always, but I thought that was hysterical. So I just thought, oh, God.
Yeah.
I thought
Tell us what actually is metamorphic therapy. What is it? What does it involve?
Right. Well, it was found. It was founded by Robert St. John, and he was a reflexologist. So I think most people would probably know what reflexology is. So you're working with all the, points on the feet. Well, you can do hands and head as well, but usually the feet. And he started to see patterns with people when he was working on the spinal reflex. And that was what made him think that, oh, okay, maybe there's more to this, working on this area because of the memory, which is, apparently I think the spine is the first thing to evolve when it's in the womb. So obviously, the babies can hear and sense everything that's going on. That's been proved. They know, if parents are getting on or they're not getting on, or, people that sort of play beautiful music to them, or, all different things. They actually take all of that in. So he founded this Metamorphic, and I think it's back in about 1950 or something, and then went from there. And then he teamed up with Gaston, the French man, who I actually met him too, which was lovely, and had a session with him just before he died, which was very nice. Wow. But he taught it. But I actually learned with two teachers. I went with one teacher, learned it, practiced it for quite some time, then went and did another one as well, because I wanted to experience two different people. One was a bit more intellectually minded, more academic, and the other one was a real down-to-earth person. And so they were two types of teaching, but it was just, it gave me more experience, and I loved it, So, and we had to do 50 case studies for each one, and they were amazing to see some of the things. I mean, I did a doctor, I remember once, who refused. He had a bad heart and he refused to have an operation. He was told he needed to have an operation. It wasn't until he came and had the sessions, as the practice sessions I had to do, that he agreed to have the operation, and ended up surviving and going on to, it was amazing. So, but he was determined not to do it before that. So something to let go, and we don't have to know anything about it. That's the whole point. The practitioner does not have to know anything at all.
Yeah. Wow, that is so powerful. And I love what you're saying. To me, it really makes sense, because we think that the subconscious is in the head, in the brain, but it's not. It is in every single cell of your body. So, if there is a trauma from childhood or whatever and also we need to, like a lot of people, don't know that the subconscious processes 20 to 40 million pieces of information every single day. So there's a lot of stuff inside us that we don't remember, and that we're carrying, the ancestral trauma and all of that. So it's amazing. You just release those energies from the body. What a difference it makes to our lives.
I can see the changes all the time. Sometimes it's very subtle. Sometimes people don't recognize anything, but then, if they're with somebody, a friend, and they'll look at them and say, "Are you kidding me?" And they'll start rattling off all the things that have changed in, and well, that's true, because we get so used to being a certain way. And when they are actually going, we don't recognize it. I had that with the hypnotherapy lady I did. She rang me up, and it was not that long after COVID. And, everything stopped, all physical contact stopped. And she rang me up. She was in her 70s, and she said, "Look, I've got agoraphobia." Right. And I said, okay. I said, not actually doing house visits, at the moment because of COVID. And I said, have you got a computer? No. I can't do anything technical. And I thought, oh, my God. So I had to make a decision. And I said, okay, all right, well, I will come out to you, which I did. And we sort of kept, quite a bit of a distance in a house. But she hadn't left the house since her husband had died. And he'd died 2 years before. But he was in care, which was interesting. So he didn't live with her. But because he'd had to go into care, she stopped being able to go out and she stopped sleeping. So both of those things. So I did this session, and hypnotherapy session, and I would not have thought that it could have been this fast. I could not believe it. I just saw this massive smile come on her face when we finished. I thought, oh, she's left, she's let go of a lot, And then I always ring people the next day to check, see how they are. And she was, a bit foggy, sort of. I just, I've just woken up, and I'm thinking, woken up. I thought you didn't sleep. And so I said, oh, you woke up. And I said, I thought you didn't sleep. And there was this silence. And she said, oh, God, I did. Now, this is how ingrained it had been in her for 2 years that she hadn't slept. She didn't even realise. And she said, my God, I went to bed. Oh, now let me think. I went to bed at about 10 o'clock last night. And I'd rang her at 9, so she'd been asleep all that time. And then I rang her again a few days later. Oh, I'm off on a cruise. And I said, you're on a cruise? Yes.
Wow.
Out the house. That was one session. I couldn't believe it myself.
Wow, that is just...
Yeah, I thought at least 3.
I love it. I love it. So, I love it. I'm fascinated. So what is your perspective of what energy is, or how you're able to use, these techniques to, to heal, and I know you're not doing it. You're just
no, definitely. Yeah. We're facilitators. That's all.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. What is your perspective? How would you define how it works?
Okay. See, the source of all existence is what we're part of. And I don't believe that you can ever be separate from it. I believe we've come from a place of oneness, and then we get born into the physical realm. And up until probably around about the age of 2, you still have that, that memory there. And you, obviously, as a young, babies, you're not there. Sort of, you often, I don't know if you've ever noticed it, they're often looking past you if you're holding a baby. So because they can still see. And they probably assume that everybody else is doing exactly the same thing. And so all of that's still there until they start to get the programming, shall I say, from everybody. I mean, we're born, we're given a label, gender, we're given a label, name, we're given a label then of what you look like and, how tall you are, everything from that time on through life. And then you identify with it. Other people identify you as it. It goes on and on and on, so you can be really sort of immersed in this physical realm. And so forgetting all about what was there before, where you have that understanding. And the energy is the source. And I believe that we're creating over and over for source. Does that make sense? Or the source of all that existence is recreating itself over and over again through us.
Yes, and has given us free will to a degree, and that's our paradigms. I love it.
And because we're all unique, thankfully, otherwise we'd all be creating exactly the same thing, we all get inspired to do different things. And when we find our passion in life, then we really go for it, and we really want to, bring it
absolutely. And that's right. That's the imprint. That's what we were. Why we kind of separated in the physical form, but everybody's purpose and gift is different, yet it's so beautifully interwoven like a tapestry, and we are so connected. And what you do is lifting the vibration of everyone around the world, or anyone that needs to tap into that vibration, whether you know them or not. Fascinating. And again, for anyone watching that has that thinks this is woohoo, check out quantum physics. If you send you some links to have a look. So, this is all science, and it's fascinating. And we're just scratching the surface, aren't we, of this science and consciousness and energy and how it works. So,
it's a drop in the ocean about what we know. Drop in the ocean.
Yeah, absolutely. Pamella, as always, I can talk with you for hours. Last time you're just a beautiful human being. You are so grounded. You are so present, or I feel like you are always present, when we're together, and your purpose is huge, and your gift is huge, and it's so refreshing to see. And everybody that comes on the Success Series is similar. Their purpose, it's so refreshing, to see someone that is loving, their work and what they're doing, and it is really, a part of them. what would your message to the world be? If you had a message, I mean, we all have a message, but what would it be? What would you love to give to the world?
To really know, I mean, there's two really important questions that people always ask is, who am I? And why am I here? You know, what is my purpose? And I think to just, if you have that, if you're at that stage where you're seeking answers, find somebody. It doesn't matter who it is. Get somebody you're drawn to, that you can actually start working with, who will be able to be a channel for you, shall I say, that you can start to access that knowledge and wisdom. Because once you get in touch with your higher self, you will get messages. You'll be able to ask things and you'll get them come through, and anything that's wrong with you, you can start. Because, I mean, I've got a health problem, which I've had for quite some time, the same thing that I'm dealing with, But it's like I just know that it's okay. It doesn't matter. I know that I can handle it. I can deal with it. And I think when people start to understand it, take their own power back, it's take your own power back. Don't give it away to other people. It's like everybody that looks like they're in a position of power in the world, people think that they have to bow down to their opinions and they take everything they say as gospel, and it's not true. Yes, they'll be helpful, but the thing is, you ultimately are the person responsible. You make your choices, and that's what I want people to realize. It's just like, just don't think that you're any less than anybody else.
I love that. Great message. And it's similar to the example that I used earlier, where in the past couple of weeks, I've had numerous people say, oh my God, but you're this way. Very similar, no, I'm this way, this is me, but you have your own power, and the power is within. And trust your own power, and get advice, get suggestions, get help when you get it, but don't give your power away. I love it. Definitely. I love it. And the thing is, I love what you said and how you started, answering that question, Pamela. You said, when people understand who they truly are without the labels, so, when they understand that they're not their name, they're not their age, they're not anything, that's just a label that's put on their physical, the physical aspects of us. But when they start to really understand who they are and tap into the wisdom and knowledge in the invisible and within them, that's where the real power lies.
Exactly.
We are so powerful.
Imagine how different the world would be if we all knew that.
Absolutely. Imagine. And sometimes, I think, this thing, I was thinking, I went downstairs to get a coffee and I took it with me. And as I was walking, and it's literally outside and next door, like 2 shops down. And it's not even 10 minutes for me to go and get my coffee. And I do that every morning. I love it. But I realized that I had this with me, and I'm like, why do we carry this everywhere? And the amount of time we spend on the screen, I mean, it's great that we have technology, but be conscious that you're not getting addicted, because that is taking you away from your own power too.
It is very much. Yeah. And believe me, I can be as guilty as anybody doing that. I think I love Instagram, but then I do look at things that are funny, like, pets, animals, dogs and cats, things that start my day off with a massive laugh. That's what I love to do.
Absolutely. It's one way to do it consciously, and another way to do it.
Just
you always remember your power. Always. So you are one of our incredible members with the Your Two Minds community.
Yes.
We love having you in our community. What has your experience been like with Your Two Minds?
Well, I was thinking about this, and I was actually talking about it with an accountability partner the other day. And it's like, I've done quite a few courses, starting from, originally the Bob Proctor one. And this last one that we did, Success Code, was the icing on the cake for me. I love them all, and I've studied them all, and I go back over them. But this one really just summed it all up and just turned the corner for me. And it was like, I was thinking about, I thought, how could I describe it? And I think it was like you gave me the permission to give myself the permission to be who I truly am without any fear of judgment.
Wow.
Without any, cares about who might not like me or what somebody might say about me or, anything like that. That was what I got from this last one.
Wow.
And that was really amazing. And it was like, and as you know, with the course, it was like, I felt like I had to really be reborn again to actually absorb all of that. And that's what came to me, how to describe it.
Wow. Love it. Yeah. And we absolutely love having you with us, Pamela. We love your growth. We learn from you also. And it's just, your journey has been incredible. I love what you said, and sometimes it's the repetition. That's why sometimes every program, every coaching that, my intention is that every single person that's in front of me and my community as a whole, they have quantum leaps, whether it's a one-on-one talk, chat, whether it's a program. But you really nailed it, because the repetition of doing the work is what gets to the next and the next phase, because it's like, peeling the classic example of peeling layers from an onion,
Exactly. Yeah.
Infinite potential. We are so expansive. We have so much within us that the deeper we go and the more we learn about ourselves and apply it,
that's right.
The more beautiful it becomes. So
I did tell you, the thing was that I used to buy a diary every year. I think I told you that. And you'd have like at the most 2 pages filled every year. I just could not get into the writing down of anything. And it was this last course again. I've had so many leaps. Let me tell you in this last one, where I thought, no, you know what? I'm going to start doing this. It's not going to be like a diary where you do everything you've done every day. That sort of would bore me to tears. But I'm going to find what I'm going to want to have happen, what's going to occur, what's going to change. I'm going to write it down, and I'm going to repeat the same thing every day, morning and night. And I started doing it 2 weeks before the course started.
Wow.
And it was like, then you said, now what we want you to do. And I thought, oh boy, I'm way ahead.
Wow.
Page 90.
Wow. That is.
And I'm still doing it, and I will do it. It's like breathing now,
Yes.
like if I was an author, I could write it. I'd have books coming out of my it's like hundreds. But I have to do it. I can't. If I think, oh God, no, I'm doing it. It doesn't matter. I don't care if I'm tired, whatever. I do it. It's like, and I love doing it. And I tweak it every now and then, but it's still basically the same thing. And every time something comes to me that I haven't thought of before.
Well, it's like a meditation. You're slowing down the mind. You are connecting with the desire. You are using your imagination, and we know the power of imagination, which lifts your energy up to connect with intuition. And that's where you can only get ideas when you are aligned with the thing that you want, and your mind is open. You don't get new ideas with a closed mind or in the same thinking that you've always been. So even though it sounds tedious and repetitive, it is very, very powerful.
It is, and the channeling's got really, really, really strong too. Since I've been as well, it's really, really, really close.
So very, very, very quickly, tell us a little bit about channeling.
Well, it's I suppose people call them mediums. I don't really like that word, but I suppose you are in a way. But I do it like it helps with people. It's when people have lost somebody in tragic circumstances or are really young, they find it really hard to sort of continue on with life. Literally, a lot of them literally stops. And if you can give them some not hope's not the word, but just some relief from that stress and anxiety that they feel. Occasionally it's because they blame themselves, for what might have happened. But if you can just say, look, literally, if you want to sit down, and I'll sit down with you and I'll see what we can do, and don't say anything. I don't want you to say anything, because if anybody starts to say something, they're giving you information. I just say, no, don't say anything at all. You can say a yes or a no, just, whatever. But it's coming through so clearly now that I can see the person, I can describe a person to them, their spirit, what they look like, so they know they're actually talking to the same person. And the change you can see in people is extraordinary. Because I'm saying they're around you all the time. They don't go anywhere. Yeah. This is what people need to understand, because you just shed the physical body. That's it. Yeah. That's it. The spirit goes on, Yeah. So it's not like they just disappear. They don't.
That's right. Again, it's energy. Yeah. Amazing.
And so that once somebody has that and they start to get really, calm, and it's like, it's a big shift. So very often that makes a big difference to how they'll start a therapy, a modality that they choose to. They're already ahead before you even start the session. So that's really helpful. And same with card reading, because I can see things in cards and I will describe people, and that's so that's got stronger and stronger and stronger. The more that I've opened up, the more that I've done the work, more that I've done the repetition. So I honestly can say that, Your Two Minds, when I first discovered, which was back in 2019, I think it was, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was 2019. There's been a huge, every year, I don't recognize myself.
Yeah.
Literally, to when I first started.
Yeah.
So, so listen, people.
The power of the work. Thank you so much. Like I said, I can't believe, how quickly this interview and this time that we've got together has flown by. I think we could sit together for a day. I say this to everyone I interview, and it won't be enough.
It's always the same.
Thank you.
Yeah,
so, Pamela,
it's been great.
I want people to know where to find you, but before we do that, any last words, anything that you would love to share with the Your Two Minds audience?
Just please, please, please know how great you are, honestly. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you do. I don't care what profession, if somebody's a street sweeper or something like that, you are no different to anybody else. It's so hard to get it across to people, because they'll take what other people think about them, what they think about themselves. A lot of low self-esteem. They don't think they're worthy, but every single person matters. If there was, as they say, the universe is out of balance. If you're not here, if you're meant to be here, you wouldn't be here if you hadn't been. You've been brought into existence. You've been designed, and you're here for a purpose. Everybody. And you are equally as important as the next person. And that's really what I want people to understand. It doesn't matter who you are.
Wow.
Realize how great you are.
Love it. What a wonderful way to finish this interview. Realize how great you are. Every single one of you out there, realize how great you are. Pamella, thank you so much for your time, for staying up to be with us. Where can people find you? What's your website? And I will get you to write it in the comments. But people that are listeners, where can people find you?
So, I'm Pamella with 2 L's. So that's important, because there's so many out there. And it's Pamella Hanson Therapy. You'll find me, Pamella Hanson Therapy, and .co.uk. Okay, and that's the webpage, which it's pretty much finished, but I'm still tweaking it at the moment. But so, and also you can also get me under the old one, but it's still out there, I've noticed, because I put it in the other day, it still brought it up. So I'm under inner.alchemy112 @yahoo.com.
Fantastic. So
both of those.
Inner Alchemy 112.
Inner dot.
Inner dot So everybody, inner.alchemy112 at
yahoo.com,
so
and then Pamella Hanson.
hang on. Yeah, sorry. So the Inner Alchemy, is that your email address?
No, that will get up that will bring also the webpage.
Okay, because you've got
okay,
sorry. All right. Yeah, that will bring up the webpage.
Yep.
You've just got
also LinkedIn, I think. Yeah, I think LinkedIn as well.
Okay.
And Instagram.
And Pamella with 2 L's, Pamella Hanson,
Hanson,
Pamella Hanson therapy.co.uk. Okay, so Pamella 2 L's Hanson therapy.co.uk.
Yeah.
We'll get Pamella to put that in the comments. If you're watching from the Millionaire Roundtable Facebook group, please do check her out. She is an absolute genius in her craft. And Pamella, thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.